Hi, what's up? We're looking at more Throne of Eldraine previews. My plan is always to make these videos every day and try to do like a reasonable amount of spoilers each day and be current and up to date so that I can get all of these people who watch these videos, all two or three of them, um, speedy and hot takes, but as it always happens, things come up. I can't make videos for a while, and then we have a whole lot to get through when I do get the chance. So prepare for another marathon session. What I'm wondering right now is like, what are these cards? Are these all examples of like really bad equipment? Because Stoneforge Mystic, of course, just got unbanned in Modern. So are they making a little joke here? Because I know this is one of like the worst cards of all time. Oh my god. What is this? What were they thinking? And it's an uncommon too? Ugh. But like, I don't know what this is. This doesn't seem terrible. It has like a use. It's not that good. And this was like one of the fan designer cards. Yeah. I don't know who James Ernest is. I don't know. Is that bad? Whatever. None of these are they're certainly not Batter Skull. Certainly not Sword of War and Peace. Okay. So we'll go full. Escape to the Wilds. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn. You may play an additional land this turn. Well, that's fun. So red is getting a lot of this impulsive draw where you can draw and then you have access to the cards, but they're not fully drawn. They're not just in your hand. And you're only able to play them for a certain amount of time. This is really amazing art. God damn, that's such cool art. So it captures both red and green so well. The cards I like it, I like it. I love when flavor text can tell a whole story just by uh, giving you the key scene, right? Like we know that this Elwen had been captured, etc., etc. Yeah. Alright, this seems fine. The key is that it's until the end of your next turn. Because at sorcery speed, paying 5 and then only having access to those cards for the rest of this turn is pretty mediocre. But here, I see this as pretty big limited plays. Castle Vantress. There's a battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Okay, so this is kind of cool. Usually check lands are for one of the two land types, like it's like dual lands or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, this seems okay. I like this. Monocolor check lands to make ability lands like a little stronger. Sure, sure. Castle Lochthwain, so it looks like this is going to be a cycle of castles. I like it. This one kind of looks like a lamp, like a genie in the lamp type lamp. It's pretty neat. And also, the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Woo! And then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Now this is another one that they've never tried before, along with this monocolor check land thing. This actually, I think this one is pretty interesting. Lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So, in the situations where you're playing this, I don't think it's going to be that big a downside. Like, probably if your hand is flooded out, you'll have some action, you'll have some way to decrease the number of cards in your hand before you're activating this ability. It's much more likely that you've dumped your hand, you have nothing left, now you're trying to kind of get back in the game. And thus you're only going to lose 1 or 2 life from this? Yeah, this seems pretty good. And this is one of the cheapest draw card abilities that's ever been stapled onto a land, if not the cheapest. And having a land that draws you cards is super sweet. Oh, it's not the cheapest. There's of course things like Library of Alexandria. Let's not worry about that. That card's a little nuts. It's the Kool-Aid Man. Well, this is like huge human, so it's something giant. This is wall, and this is like smashing. It's like wall smashing giant. Can't be blocked by knights or walls. Well, there you go, because it's the wall smashing giant. And it's just a 5/5 for 4 with a bit of evasion. Alright, cool. Yeah, that's a big guy. I can't be bothered to read this though. The tildes are interesting. What does the tilde signify in Chinese? I don't know. Sure, Sorcerer's Broom. Oh, well, there's a classic. It's like in Fantasia, the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where Mickey animates all the brooms, and then they start carrying out the work that he was supposed to do, but then things run amiss, and although the sorcerer tries to chop up the brooms into little itty bitty pieces, the brooms are simply inhaled into his lungs and continue to attack him. Nah, just kidding. That's an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon that makes a parody of Fantasia. This is interesting to me, though, because as far as I know, this story is original to Fantasia, which means that now they're not just going after the same property that Disney has famously adapted, but they're actually just going after a Disney property. In fact, that's so ridiculous to me that I feel like it can't be true. We're going to research this just a little bit. Hopefully it won't take too long. Room. Okay. It's already a popular concert piece. Okay, so there's a poem by Goethe, which I guess is the Faust guy, right? Wait a minute. No, it's not. Oh yeah, it's Stories of Young Werther. I got mixed up. Oh, wait. Yeah, Faust. Yeah, this guy was awesome. And I guess he also came up with the idea of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yes, yes. Okay, so not Disney, put away your lawyers. I'm sure they already called them up, and the lawyers was like, wait, I'm Wikipediaing this. Nope, you guys didn't come up with that. You guys didn't come up with that. Okay. When we sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. Oh, well, isn't that fun? Really nicely replicates the mechanics of the broom enchanting other brooms and things kind of getting out of hand. I love stuff that triggers based on something like sacrificing. It's just kind of neat, you know, like it's something that most decks maybe do to some extent. There's like tons and tons of mechanics in which you sacrifice something, but you can kind of orient your deck around it even more if you want to. Yeah, I don't know. It's cute. This is a book we've seen quoted before. Overwhelmed Apprentice. When it's on the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library into a graveyard, then you scry 2. Okay. Oh boy, too many floating ghost books. Watch out. The Cauldron of Eternity. Ooh. Okay, so this is part of that cycle we've seen before with the reduced casting costs, legendary colored artifacts. This is by far the most expensive one, but then this is by far the most easy condition to meet of those, I'm pretty sure. Whenever a creature you control dies, put it in the bottom of its owner's library. Okay. Now this is weird. So it's like once you've played the Cauldron, nothing else can die. So you can't reanimate anything else. You can only reanimate the stuff that was there before. So at first this seems like very non-synergistic, but I think it's actually kind of flavorful, because it's like we've got this cauldron that grants immortality. So once it's out there, everything is immortal, and it's just going to the library instead of the graveyard. And then stuff that's already dead can also come back via the cauldron, I guess. The artwork is super, super cool. Oh my gosh. Like, putting aside the amazing collector boosters artwork for like the knights and stuff, this set still has some of the best artwork I think they've had in years. Just the creativity of something like this. So much going on. Anyways, yeah, very, very flavorful card. This is, of course, a very cheap reanimation spell for something that's recurring. The problem is, like, reanimation decks don't really want to be doing all of this. They just want to have one really powerful creature in their graveyard, so this is sort of irrelevant. And they don't care about a reusable reanimation effect because they just want that one really powerful creature back out there. Could there come a day where there's much more of like a toolbox style reanimator deck where you're dumping all sorts of stuff in your yard, bringing them out one by one as they're most useful? I kind of doubt it, because if you're going to go to those lengths just to play a toolbox style deck, I think something that's a lot better is just fetching your creatures and, just playing them from your hand. The reanimation only really becomes valuable once you're bringing out something so huge relative to everything else on the board that it justifies all the setups, like, Greaselbrand or an Eldrazi or whatever. So, and if you're going to be doing that, it's like, why are you setting up all this other stuff? Just get that guy out ASAP. So, I don't know. I think overall, a very cool card, not that strong. Forever Young. I was just thinking about, that's so weird. I was just thinking about this song because this Falco player in Melee with the very questionable tag Bobby Big Balls uploaded a combo video called Forever Young today that I was watching. What? Coincidence. Just a coincidence. Put any number of target creatures from your graveyard to the top of your library, draw a card. Ooh, well that's not bad. Because essentially you get a specific creature card from your graveyard into your hand, just for 2 mana. And you get to stack your deck with a bunch of other bombs. And look at this flavorful connection. I love when they mention cards in flavor texts at like a common difficulty or whatever. So you're like, ooh, the Cauldron of Eternity, I wonder what that is. For some reason I don't have the internet, and my only way of seeing cards is opening packs. And then later you open this and you're like, whoa, this doesn't seem that strong. Okay, what else we got? Cauldron's Gift. Oh, yet again, the Cauldron. Uh-huh. Okay, well that's not too bad. I mean, this is probably not going to be relevant that often, because you're only going to be casting this once you already have your target in the graveyard. The additional +1/+1 counter is nice, probably not a big deal. But I mean, these days this is about what we can expect to pay for a straight up reanimation spell, so yeah, alright, I'm fine with it. Black Lance Paragon. Flash. Ooh, black doesn't get flash too often. Target knight gains death touch and lifelink until end of turn, so that's a fun little combat trick. And these are the guys looking for the Cauldron of Eternity. Nice, nice. Well, all of you guys should read some Allison Airlines Toho Dojinshi. Allison will sort you out on the idea of immortality. Maybe you'll think twice. Oh, it's Sir Alan, the Lion's Claw. So this is another uncommon legendary. Alright, sure. Sure, this is of course the premise of so many fantasy works, but it's a classic for a reason. Recast a spell that has adventure, gets +1/+1 to turn. Okay, alright, sure. I like this sort of colloquial, more conversational reminder text, because I don't know if this is actually the strict rules language that the creature goes on the adventure, or maybe it is, I don't know. But it makes it very clear how this card works. Alright. Lonesome Unicorn. Rider in Need. A horse, my kingdom for a horse. Oh my god, look at that. Look at what they're making for this set. Look at that. Oh my god. Oh, that Lonesome Unicorn. Beautiful. Alright. Sure. On alert. Alright, sure. Oh my gosh, look at this. For just like a vanilla 2/1 common with like one of the most vanilla adventures stapled onto it. Just because it has adventure, they're gonna go so far as to make this art for a common. Ah, I love it. Thank you, Josu Hernandez. Jose Hernandez. Josu Hernandez. Not even close. Okay. Toonvale Treefolk. Alright, sure. Oh my god, you ready? Ooh, I love it. I always love it. These are so good. How are they so consistently good? There's something about this kind of style of art. It just it dazzles me. It just takes me away somewhere. Linden, the Steadfast Queen, another noble. So I guess they're really rolling out this creature type in force for this set at least. It's kind of too bad because there's cards with noble right in the card name that aren't going to be nobles now. But that's the risk they run every time they introduce a card type. Vigilance. Whenever a white creature you control attacks, gain 1 life. Hey, well that's pretty solid. These are just solid stats. All right. Yep. It's fine. Rally for the throne. Alright, sure. Cool. I like how if you go for the adamant, it has the same mana cost as her. And then it adds the kind of effect that she has. Yeah. Yeah, it's alright. Arden Vale, Paladin. Okay. Serve the absent king. Okay, so I don't know. I can't follow the flavor all too much because it's a lot of just like names and stuff. So is this the same kingdom? Like I think there's like 5 kingdoms and they all have a different color is my understanding. Also based on that set of castles, the cycle of castles. So when it's like the absent king, don't you guys just have a queen? Isn't that fine? Ah, whatever. Yorvo, he big. So this is the king of the green kingdom, I guess. This is maybe a cycle, and they're all going to be color, color, color. There's a battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a green battlefield creature. Ooh, alright, that's fun. So this is sort of like Evolve with that Simic mechanic from one of the Ravnica sets. That's quite fun. It's interesting that he doesn't have any base power toughness, that it's all just counters. I guess that's kind of more fun. Or maybe there's some trick to it that I'm not thinking of. Of course, with doubling season, this becomes a very, very big man. It's already quite a big man. It's a 4/4 for 3, and then it's going to get bigger quite fast. Probably this line is more irrelevant, because you're going like super wide to get as much use out of this line. But it's pretty cool. I like that idea of kind of curving out and maximizing your evolves and stuff. Drown in the Loch. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Its controllers, so the spell's caster. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Ooh, ho ho ho. Now, they've already hosed graveyard decks quite a bit with the banning of Faithless Looting, of course. But I don't know. I think they're gonna like splutter along in some form. I almost wish they hadn't until this card came along, just to see what it can do to hose it. I don't think a whole lot, but it would still be very cool just to see what this can do in a deck that's focused on loading up its graveyard as quickly as possible, thus making this counter anything or destroy anything for just 2 mana. It's pretty neat, but then again, it's like we've already seen 2 mana counterspell. We know what that does. We've seen 2 mana destroy target creature, not unconditionally, but go for the throat and Doomblade and stuff. So it's not like it would be like shockingly powerful. I just think it would be interesting against the graveyard decks. Against normal decks, the problem is that this doesn't really come online in the early game. It's more of like a late game card, which is fine. I don't know. I still think this is fine. Like maybe this is good. It's a very interesting design at least, and it's possibly pushed. It's just kind of hard to imagine. I don't know. It's hard to imagine what deck wants to play this. I don't think that deck really exists right now. Blue-black control kind of stuff. And those sorts of decks are about shutting down board presence early and then like keeping it locked down. Whereas this is kind of more late game. You've already got a board presence. They're trying to rebalance board presence and kind of get going, and then you start shutting them down. Just still fine, but I don't know. All right, we got to keep moving. There's still so many more to see. You know what this means? You know what this means? There was cards spoiled while we were making this video. Are you ready? Oh my god. Look, there's a new one right there! Okay, so the cycle of castles, the mono check lands is continuing. This one makes a human. Sure, not super exciting, but I like it. I guess this is a little cheaper or more monocolored. Yeah, there was a Gavany Township before. I think that's the card I'm thinking of. And that was 4 mana as well, but it was green and white, and it only produced colorless. Alright. Sir Farron, the Hengehammer. Alright, cool. I like stuff like this, where there's no mechanic on the card to boost this guy's power. It's like you gotta come up with your own little combos and synergies to make this even more useful. But even if it's not, it's still a 2/2 for 2 that gives something else +2/+2, which is pretty sweet. Words are pointless. It's what you do with your hammer that counts. Alright. Cool. This is very similar to that other adventure synergy type card, just a little inverted. So maybe this is like a nice fairy. Yeah. Ooh, Realm Cloaked Giant. So the creature form is just a big dude with vigilance. Alright. But then you get a board wipe just stapled onto it. So in your hand, you either have a gigantic guy or a board wipe. And probably one of those two things is always going to be useful. And then later, if you choose the board wipe, you also get the big guy. Alright, I mean, it's a very, very simple card. The fact that this is at Mythic really shows how powerful they think this this effect is. And I guess I would agree, like, this seems really useful. I don't really know if there's any decks that will end up wanting it. It's just so objectively powerful. Are you ready for this art, though? Ooh. See, I like the all of kind of modern Magic art, and I think this is a very deliberate idea, is they all look like frames out of some hypothetical MTG movie that's like showing the plot. So something exciting is always happening. It's always trying to tell like a whole story, which I think is fine. Like I'm all for that. I think that's a smart way to do your art in general, but I like having exceptions. And what I like to see in exceptions is just depictions of what the thing looks like in like a moment of peace. Like these castles are a good example. And this is a good example. He's just standing there. Like he's not like, grrr, it's time to fight. But, you know, this is just how he lives his life, walking around with the ground cloaking him. Oh, so cool. Okay. This is the green one. Oh, I like it. It's got like a whole little Stonehenge thing going on. Maybe a sort of Lion King Pride Rock feel. Wow. Ooh la la. Okay, so this thing ramps you from 4 to 6, but it's also just the normal forest basically until then, assuming it's your second land. Holy, this seems really strong. No? Like, what deck, you know, the decks that are running this isn't a huge downside. Furthermore, this is the first time they've used this language, add 6 green symbols, instead of just add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green symbols. Yeah, I don't know. I'm into this. This seems strong. I mean, we're always on the verge of a big green stompy deck being viable, right? Like, it's always going to be like a tier 2 deck, just because it has, or if not tier 2, then like tier 3. Like, it's always going to be there. It's just not likely to be the premier deck of the format. So I'm all for just pumping cards that are very obviously good in that archetype, just to see what happens. And if we ever get to the point where the green stompy deck is dominant, like, oh, what an entertaining problem we're going to have. So like this, and Leyline of Abundance I'm quite interested in. And just any new mana dorks, like Incubation Druid, I think is what it's called. Yeah, just try them. Why not? Oh, and that really crazy big beast that lets you not play non-creature spells. That thing is cool. Yeah, I'm into it. Okay, so then we saw this. Now we'll go back to page 2, and if the queen isn't on top, oh my god, there's cards just coming out constantly. We'll be here forever at this rate. Lucky Clover. Ooh, that's fun. I mean, of course, it's very narrow and specific only to this set, but it's a really powerful effect. I'm trying to think of what really strong adventure cards we've seen, and the only one that comes to mind is the board wipe. And then it's like, well, what's the point of that? I get the board wipe twice. Wow. But yeah, I don't know. If we look at all the adventure cards, maybe there's some good stuff. Sure. Okay. All right, now we're caught up. And this should be, yeah, the tree folk. We saw all these. We haven't seen this guy yet. Torben, Thane of Redfell. Ooh, more dwarves. They said they would be kind of bringing back dwarves in a more evergreen way. People seem to really like them. Red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls. It deals that much damage +2 instead. Alright, sure. It's going to be a little slow for the decks that really care about that. But, I mean, you get some much more resilient stats in trade-off, so... Archon of Absolution. Ooh, very rare creature type here. And very rare creature type to see at anything less than rare. Flying, pro white. Oh, okay, well that's not bad. This is quite an annoying effect to have at common. This is gonna really slow down games of limited. Or not common, but uncommon. Yeah, alright. It's rare to see this. Protection from a color. That's, they were shifting kind of more towards hexproof from colors and not color-specific things in general. So this surprised me, but okay. Cool art too. I like that his kind of lance or spear or whatever is one of, it's another like antler. I was gonna say tusk. It's like that doesn't seem right. Ooh. Ah, this is of course Jack and the Beanstalk. We already saw another card kind of depicting Jack and the Beanstalk, and we had the golden goose and stuff. I like when you discard it too. That's really cool. You get some food. And the cow is a 3/3. Good for you, Hilda. Hilda is a strong fighter. It looks like she's kind of magical. What a stupid kid. Now, I mean, the story is that it's like, haha, Jack got ripped off. He didn't really understand that the guy was tricking him. But the beans really were magic. You know, I never can really reconcile this story in my head. Because it kind of seems like the lesson is don't get duped. And then, of course, there's a million variations of what happens when he climbs the beanstalk and gets to the giant's castle in terms of like kind of the morals and what happens there. Whether he gets greedy, whether he slaughters the golden goose, all sorts of things. But it's like this early lesson of like don't believe in the magic beans is instantly subverted, right? Because the beans really were magic, and of course it kind of leads to tragedy in most versions. That he goes up to the giant's castle and various other unfortunate adventures occur, but like the beans were magic. This guy looks shifty. The idea is Jack is so stupid he doesn't understand. But the beans were magic. Look. See, the beans are magic. Oh, isn't this fun? How mechanically flavorful. They look tasty, but best of plankton. Okay. Giant opportunity. Hilarious. This seems pretty strong. I don't know. You need to have a food deck going. I don't know how easy that's going to be. But this is potentially... oh, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Tall as a beanstalk. This guy has beanstalk armor. Okay. Yeah. Alright. I I see, I see, I see. He ate the magic beans, and now he's become Beanstalk Man. Fun, very fun. I like it. Clockwork Servant. Ooh, now that's cool. I think a lot of decks are going to want to run this in limited. If you end up drafting predominantly monocolor in this set, which seems like it's going to be the case, I don't see why you wouldn't just be picking these up. Cute. What a cute little existence. Fires of Invention. You can cast spells only during your turn, and you can cast no more than 2 spells each turn. You may cast spells with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana costs. Okay, cool card. Pretty exciting card. But what is like the ultimate payoff? You basically get double the mana, but it has to be spread out into 2 cards. So the ideal play is like you play this turn 4, you have 4 lands out. Turn 5, you get to start playing 2 5-drops. Turn 6, you start getting 2 6-drops, so on and so forth. Essentially putting you a turn ahead of your opponent. It's kind of cool. It's a very cool idea, but how will this actually play out? I think poorly. You're going to spend most of your turns making plays that you could have if you were just tapping mana normally, and then probably more turns where you are limited by that fact than turns where you get these explosive, basically double your mana turns. And like, oh my lord, this? You can't play reactively at all. You can't do stuff EOT opponent. You can't. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is way too limiting for it to, like, the payoff situations are so rare. It is a cool card though. Like, I think it's a really neat idea. I don't know. I don't know what would make it good. Like, if it was like a 1-drop or something, I would be very intrigued. Because that can accelerate you really quickly in the low end and get you ahead pretty fast. It's like maybe I'm thinking too stereotypically about red decks, that they want to keep their curve very shallow and play a lot of low mana stuff. But yeah, I just don't see it working out. It's a cool card though. Henge Walker. Alright, neat. I don't think it's as strong as the draw you a card one, but I like it. So this is the Henge mentioned in Battle for the Henge or whatever that book is called. And this is near that green castle. So the Henge, I guess, is sort of like Stonehenge. Yeah, that makes sense. Sundering Stroke. 7 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. If at least 7 mana, 7 red mana. Whoa! Alright, so if you're playing mono red, it's the 7 to 3 different things, which is pretty nuts. But if you're playing mono red, you probably just want to hit one thing, which is your opponent's face. So I don't know if this is super necessary, but you are still dealing 7 to their face. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like obviously bad. They occasionally will make this like kind of top end burn spell, and I don't know. What about a combo deck where you play this and a bunch of stuffy dolls? So you can hit them to the face once, and then hit both stuffy dolls for a grand total of 21 damage to their face. Ooh, ooh, maybe. But yeah, I was gonna say most of the time that those cards are useful, like Star of Extinction or that one that deals 13 or things like that, is when there's some sort of gimmick to actually just reroute all of the damage to the opponent's face. Barge in. Alright. Fun. Cute art. Red Cap Raiders. Another goblin. It's just a couple goblins. Non-human though. I'm so into this non-human language. Sure. Mistford River Turtle. Whoa. Dude, I love it. It's just a big ass turtle. It's just hanging out. Yeah, alright. Yikes. Ferocity of the Wilds. Alright, again, non-human. So cool. And these are the wilds, of course, that they mentioned before. We gotta keep the order of the kingdom safe from the wilds. Sure, sure, sure. Oh, it's Grumgully the Generous. Oh, I love it. Cool, cool. I love this alliance of all the wild things against the humans. That's such a neat theme. Non-human decks. That's so neat. Okay, sure. This thing seems pretty strong in such a non-human deck. Stats are good. This really benefits a lot of different strategies. You get the counters too. There's all sorts of synergy with that. It's not just that they get +1/+1 while this is around. Yeah, I'm into it. All right. Oh my god, it's still happening! Let's go look at the newest cards. The Red Castle. Pretty cool. Pretty straightforward, but pretty cheap on a land to have this ability. This can easily lead to some blowouts if you're going really wide. Sure. Giant Skewer. Hey, that's cool. You're turning everything into food. Like Quina in FF9. Yeah, alright. Fortifying Provisions. Sure. And to not die. Cute. Okay, then we saw that. We saw these. Ooh, the Lock Dragon. Sure, it just loots. Swings in, loots, does damage. Seems good and limited. Cute. It's just curious. It's just out to look for stuff. Mirror Maid. Enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. Ooh, that's kind of cool. We've had ones that will double both creatures and artifacts, like Phyrexian Metamorph. I think we've had something that will clone an enchantment before. I don't think we've ever seen this combination specifically, though. Any artifact or enchantment. Is this the final way to blow out Omnitel decks? No, it is not. It is pretty cool, though. There's something neat going on here. It's quite cheap. Yeah, I don't know. It's worth trying out, maybe, in some formats. Iron Crag Feet. Huh? Boo! Boo! Whoa! Boo! Whoa! Boo! Damn! Alright. This is ooh! Now this is an amazing flavor text. And the artwork is amazing too. It's like that Fate thing, Unlimited Blade Works. She's Unlimited Blade Worksing. But this can never be used in Storm. This is like the anti-Storm card. Add 7 red. So I guess you can do this into your in Sundering Stroke or whatever that card was called. Ramp that out super fast. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like what is red really wanting to do at 4 mana on like their 4th turn? Or I guess you can like Pyretic Ritual into this. So this is like turn 3, now you're adding 7 and you play what, like Inferno Titan? I just don't see it. Wormcoil Engine, probably just as good. Yeah, neat idea, but not that I'd be like super pumped if they just made a card that's obviously really good in combo decks. Made that same mistake that they've been making for years. I would just be like, oh, you know, it's just kind of embarrassing, but it would be exciting because you would get to see it show up in various lists and such. Instead, we get this experiment, which who knows, but I suspect I know. I suspect I know that this is not going to see play. Revenge of Ravens. Oof, that is gross. That's unfortunate. Ooh, the Magic Mirror. So this continues our cycle of legendary, cost-reductive, colored artifacts. One last to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. No maximum hand size. Yeah, okay. So again, when I see something like this, I get excited for storm type decks that are playing really low curve, spamming preordains and cantrips and other such fun things. But then, you know what? I don't know. Okay, here's where I think this card belongs, is like more of a controlling deck, where you kind of want to keep your hand always fueled with counterspells and stuff, things for every specific threat. And then you're just, yeah, I don't know. In a control deck, could this be kind of the way that you just establish a dominant level of card advantage? Kind of like a consecrated sphinx, so this doesn't swing in the air for 4. It's a very interesting card. Of all of these so far, I think this is the one. Well, I don't really remember what. The white one has like Night Synergy, and the black one was that reanimation thing. I don't remember what other ones we've seen. I think we saw the green one. Well, we can go look it up later. But this one seems more intriguing than the black or white one. Can mill you out pretty quick. So it's kind of at a contradiction, because it's like you actually do need some sort of win con, or else you just get milled out. Your win con can't be milling them out, because you're drawing an exponential amount of cards, or not an exponential amount of cards. I'm sorry. What is it? A geographic? Like X? Whatever. Bone Crusher Giant. Sure. It's just called Stomp. I love it. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Well, that's pretty nice. Like, red is always looking for that sort of effect, because they play Skullcrack. Ooh. This one is much more action-packed than a lot of these alternate arts. But it still has a very classic storybook kind of feel to it. Like, this looks more like it could be a page in a storybook than a frame from a movie. So Skullcrack, I believe, does 3. Does to target player. This does to any target, which is kind of nice. Still instant speed. Yeah, I don't know. I could see them considering this in addition to Skullcrack. Because the fact that you get this thing too, and this ability is quite nice in a burn deck. Yeah, I don't know. This this seems really strong. It's just for 3 mana too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Seems pretty good. Whoa, he's stepping on the knight's cape too. No capes, no capes. Do you remember that from The Incredibles? No capes. Okay. This doesn't... Oh, I guess it's all about these crazy stats. It's a 5/4 flyer for 2. This again seems like they were still working on hose and graveyard strategies for Modern, and then they went and banned it. I feel like this is probably not enough to actually be a fighting force against graveyard decks. It's just too slow regardless. But it is an interesting idea. It blocks Phoenix. Maybe they were still designing this back when Phoenix was the scariest graveyard deck, but they can only block Phoenix unless you have 4 more cards in hand. Yeah, I don't know. It's a neat idea. And I love anything that has like big stats for the mana, but then restrictions. That to me is always interesting. Alright. Dance of the Manse. The Manse? Is this like a word? Okay. So, I guess that's what's going on here. Priest is coming home and he's like, what the heck is this? And they're all singing, be my guest, be my guest. Turn up to X target artifact and or non-aura enchantment cards, each with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, oh my gosh, isn't that fun? Even without hitting this threshold, where things start getting really crazy, this is still really interesting as kind of like a a way to cycle through your eggs and mana rocks and chromatic spheres and stuff again. It seems not bad. You can do it just for 1 or 2. X or less, yeah, you can do it for 1. It's quite cheap. And then it also just becomes a win con. So it's like during the combo, it just keeps your combo going. And then when it's time, it can also be its own win con that you're just pulling back so much. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. The problem is, and maybe I failed to understand this at first, it's up to X cards, each with chromatic mana cost X or less. So if you do it just for 1, then it's not like you get all of your eggs back. That would definitely be way too strong. They're not going to make that mistake again. So you get 1 of your eggs back, which isn't that good anymore. But there's probably like kind of a sweet spot where this starts being pretty sweet. Nice. Good redundancy. A sweet spot where this starts being pretty good. It's worth considering. It's pretty neat. Ooh, look at how straightforward this is. Each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of cards in their hand from the top of the library into their graveyard. Okay, so this alone and this alone, neither of them are that good. The fact that each player is so bad. This is like not a good way to mill them. Milling them by making them draw a bunch of cards and then milling their cards. The only way I can see this actually being good is in decks that lock your opponent out of drawing, like decks that have that Narset from War of the Spark, which is really a lot of decks these days. And that's good and all, but those decks have better things to do. I feel like this strategy will never kind of occur in Standard, just because Narset hoses so much more in formats that have better card draw. And in those formats, there is better symmetrical card draw to hose with Narset. And outside of this strategy, I don't see this being too good. But it's a neat idea. This line of text is very exciting. It's just so straightforward. This one is much more kind of just dumb. And this is the second card that has this in this set. It's kind of interesting. Stone Curl Serpent. Reach, Tampo, protection from multicolored. Cool. Enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it. Wow, so is this not a strictly better Endless one? I mean, this is an artifact, so that kind of opens up some liabilities. And moreover, it's not an Eldrazi, which is why this thing can get pumped out so quickly because of the Eldrazi lands. But, I mean, I feel like this design already was kind of pushed. And this is that plus a whole bunch of effects. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be strong somewhere in Standard or in Limited for sure. This is like a big play. Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't think they would make a strictly better Endless one. And then Endless one is already a strictly better Ivy Elemental. And as a kid, I thought this card was good too. Now it's a common because they've moved so far from this design. But when I saw this as a kid, I was like, whoa, this could be huge. All right, Idyllic Grange. Whoa, it's a Plains. Cool. Cool. Cool, okay. Now that's quite interesting. At common, too. I like it. I could see this being useful for something. Really, really beautiful art, too. Oh my gosh. And really nice flavor text. Oh, yeah. +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Also, by the way, I think this is super cool. I like the idea of them printing even more powerful lands with even costlier restrictions like this. Like the mono check lands, I was already excited, but this is like triple check. Amazing. The problem is like this doesn't seem to match with the flavors text. If the hero's journey is starting somewhere, why are you giving it a counter like so late into the game? Whatever. Whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. This is some real rampy time. So at the very least, it's going to tap to add 2, and it's a 2/2 Vigilance for 2. But in some crazy 5-color deck, this can ramp you from 3 to 8? Except that you'd have to really work to get all 5 of your colors out on the battlefield. But you play this, you play Transguild Promenade or whatever it's called. Then you get this, you slam your Fist of the Five Suns or whatever it's called. And then you're just off to town. Yeah, there's the combo. It's a stupid ass combo, but somebody's gonna try it. Somebody's gonna try it, and they're gonna have a really fun time. Wolf's Quarry. Sure. Bunch of food. You can later turn into a giant. Hey, it's the three little pigs! Twice I had found them. There's only one place to let it hide. The brick house. Oh, how cute. Fierce Witch Stalker. Cool. So I kind of like that the wolf. It's kind of like the same wolf, but at the same time, there's so many wolves in fairy tales. It's kind of both. Sure. Oath-Sworn Knight. Sure. This is like the phantom mechanic. There's a bunch of these cards way back in the day. Oh my gosh, are these new cards? Hold on, sorry. Those spoilers. Like this was one of my favorite cards as a kid. A 5/4 for 4. What? And it's like almost invincible? What? The problem is that most things, when they take damage, assuming it's not lethal damage, they just get better later. So this thing getting permanently weakened is actually worse than taking damage normally in a lot of situations. But whatever, still that's some pretty sweet stats for 3. Yeah, I'm about it. Trapped in the Tower, a classic. At least up here I have some peace and quiet. Ha ha ha. Alright. I like that it's without flying, because of course flying creatures can just fly out of the tower, obviously. Mm-hmm. Sure. I don't know, maybe this has some place in a goblin deck. It's a pretty cheap double striker, so if you have lots of ways to pump your goblins, this is good. Will you be more? Oh, no new cards this time. Alright, we're truly catching up now then. Huh. They decided to just pretend it was on their side. Sure. We're just gonna stop fighting it. It's on our side now. Okay. Ooh, Lost Legion. It's like in Lord of the Rings. Sure. A little underwhelming for an entire ghost army. But I guess they're just random ass knights in the ghost army. Maybe we'll see some ghost king or something later. Knight of the Keep. It's just a vanilla knight. Yeah! Yeah! That's right. Good job, Knight of the Keep. Okay, cool. It's a situational O-ring. I can see this actually being pretty good in a lot of matchups. They're not really playing stuff that's that much higher than CMC3. The fact that it's a 2-drop is pretty sweet. Problem is that as an artifact, it's a little easier to blow up than an enchantment, generally. But of course, this is in a lot of fairy tales. The prince comes in, and they've where do the dwarves and such always have these glass coffins? Why do they have that just ready to go? Oh, I guess we'll put her in this. Like finally, it's been gathering dust back there for like years. Deafening silence. Okay. Well, hey, that's very cheap. Holy goodness me. If they ever wanted to take a fat dump on Storm, not just denying them a new ritual, not just... Well, what was the other thing I said earlier that I was like, this is almost Storm, but it's not? Was it that blacksmithing card? The one that lets you cast 2 spells for free every turn? I don't know. At any rate, this is like the easy, the most just middle finger to Storm I could ever imagine. Which to me is not a deck that needs hosing, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I could see this easily becoming a sideboard staple. It's so cheap. And it hoses actually quite a few decks, not just Storm. Phoenix, of course. I didn't even think about that, but this is like the biggest middle finger they could possibly give to Phoenix. Yeesh. Now this is kind of terrifying. This is like a real authoritarian spin on the circle, which so far what we've seen of it is like it's kind of traditional knights having fun type stuff. Hmm. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I will not be surprised if this shows up in a lot of sideboards in a lot of formats. Thunder Snapper. Look at all the... That's a Turtle Hydra. Hey, I like it. That's a lot of fun. Just fueling through your deck at the top end. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Spectre's Shriek. Choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player exiles that card. Oh. Oh, interesting. Huh. Now that doesn't seem that good compared to other hand disruption cards we have. Like, this is pretty restrictive. The sacrifice is so much worse than Thoughtseize's 2 life or whatever. The fact that it's like black on black works best though is kind of interesting, because before we've had hand disruption spells that specify a non-black card. And this is horrific. Red cap melee. Melee! What? I love melee! I love melee! Okay. Huh, see, look at this. It's monocolor on monocolor cycle. Interesting. Poor Sir Fenwick. Getting beat. Sure. Okay. It's kind of interesting. Sure. Ooh, I like this from the days when they ruled the realm. It's a pretty common fantasy trope that, like, the story takes place in the era of man, where man has taken over all of these other intelligent humanoid races like dwarves and elves, who often it's implied were like doing a much better job of taking care of everything. They're living in somewhat of like a stable way, and then in the era of man, things have gone kind of out of hand. This to me is like a really good analogy for the development of the human world. So I'm not surprised to see this trope evoked here as well. I hope we kind of learn more about this ancient kingdom of elves. Sure. Ooh, it's a Wandermare! Aww. So it's a lot like that other card, but it gets a +1/+1 counter instead. Nice. It's a Wandermare. I love that name. I love that name so much. Edgewall Innkeeper. It's a peasant. Sure. Hey, the adventure deck is kind of smoothing itself out. There's a lot of synergies going on here. But like this is a powerful effect. This is what you really need to make these sorts of decks pop. Something that can just start churning through everything. Discard a card, draw a card. Not even tap. Cool. So, sure. Huh. Cute. Alright, I like it. Fun art, too. It's just pushing around this cart full of goodies. Interesting. I wonder if that's really what's going on. Oh, look at that art. What a classic. What a classic. Haggle. There's another one called Stomp. I'm disappointed that these can't be full-fledged cards. I would be surprised if they're allowed to use the names of the adventures as full cards afterwards. Ardenvale Tactician. Alright, sure. Whoa! Whoa, that's so good. Look at those trees. Look at those trees. Look at the color of the sky. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Even boring commons are so exciting to me if they have adventure. Fell the Pheasant. Those 5 damage target creature flying create a food token. Okay. Sure. Lead Headhunter. Sure. Pretty edgy. But sure. Reeve Soul. Hey, that's not bad. Oh, it's a reprint. Okay. Spooky. Oh, this is a common reprint now. Just an Ixalan. Just never gonna let it out of standard, I guess. Sure, this card seems pretty useful. Branded and Brawl, huh? Into the story. Whoa, look at that! You just walk it into the book. I love it. Hey, it becomes a pretty cheap draw 4. Again, it's like they didn't know that they were going to ban Faithless Looting. Not that I think any of these cards would have been able to overcome the speed and consistency of graveyard decks. But maybe in this meta of hosed graveyard decks, they'll create a kind of an interesting counterplay. Just as easily to win. Cool. Epic Downfall. Ah, so this is the other... Well, it's not quite, because this is power. This is CMC3 or greater. It's interesting. Usually white gets this stuff, hitting big guys. But white hit big guys is usually based on their power. I guess based on CMC, that's usually been in black's domain, like Fatal Push and stuff. Sure. I'm still waiting for a big dragon card. I think there's got to be at least one big dragon card, you know, because that's such a fantasy trope. Sure, sure. Fervent Champion for Strike Haste. Sure. Ooh. Whoa! Whoa! Excuse me. I didn't know they were doing this again. That they were giving the winners of various big tournaments their own card. This is where a lot of some of Magic's most iconic creatures have come from, actually. Meddling Mage and Sad Robot. What's that card actually called? Okay, hold on. Maybe check this out. I wouldn't be surprised if they have. No, they don't actually. Oh, what all are they? Solemn Simulacrum. Avalanche Riders, this was like a big card back in the day. Same as Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Shouldn't say a lot of the most iconic creatures. That was definitely a exaggeration. But they're back to doing this, I guess. Policy was reversed with the 2019 Mythic Invitational. Cool. I'm glad they brought it back. I always thought this was so cool. Oh, and Snapcaster, of course. Snapcaster is a huge one. Yeah. Oh my god, and Talk Confident too. Right. Actually, no, there is a lot. A lot of iconic creatures came from this. Solemn, of course, banger. Yeah, I think this had a place. Yeah, this, of course, quite strong. Even today, I think is quite strong. This, of course, hugely strong. I'm sure it would be played in Modern Humans if it was legal. Or wait a minute, is it mod? Yeah, it is Modern legal. I think it is played in Modern Humans. Yeah, that's right. This is the art they use. I just wasn't used to seeing this guy. Okay. Maraleaf Rider, another elf on a fox. Sure. Oh, that's a cute flavor. Bog Naughty. Okay. Alright, sure. Sure. So it looks like all of the mechanics are, to some extent, in all of the colors. Knights, Night Tribal, Food, Adventures. Oh, all of these we're kind of seeing, I think, quite across all colors. Ooh, look at there's a cat. Sure. This, I guess, fits in with the Cauldron of Immortality. Huh, yeah, interesting. An immortal cat. It's just hanging around forever. Insatiable Appetite. Hey, that's not bad. I don't know, this food deck, it's very intriguing to me. Cute. Cute flavor text. Opportunistic Dragon. Well, this is a rare dragon, but it's not like a big dragon. Huh. Now that's quite interesting. Loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. So, like, what could possibly benefit you for actually controlling it? I guess that you get to sacrifice it. It still counts for things that count your number of humans or artifacts. I don't don't know. It's very interesting. More, it's just that you're denying them it, of course, but very interesting. Stats are okay. Seems alright. Gadwick the Wizened. This battlefield draw X cards. Hey, oh, non-land makes this a lot worse, but still, this seems pretty strong. The stats are pretty okay. It's a little resilient. Here's just the same. I like it. I like it. Nice, kind of creepy old sorcerer vibe. And this isn't bad either. Like for a draw X spell, when it comes to a creature, that it has this really nice tap them down. Yeah, this seems alright. I mean, I don't know where it's going to get played, but it seems fairly pushed, is all I'm saying. That's a big number. Well, this is an old, cold card. Going all the way back to 4th edition, probably even further. All the way back to Alpha. A reprint from Alpha, and it hasn't been seen since 2010. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, alright. Suddenly his sword blazed like the sun. Nice. Opt! Another classic. This one I think only goes back to Invasion. Yeah. We need alternatives. No. This is that guy we saw before. Except he got his haircut before he opted. He opted to get a haircut. Sure. This card's nice. 7 dwarves. +1/+1 for each other creature named 7 dwarves. Ha ha ha! Oh, so cute. I love it. I love it. I love it. And maybe actually something to go for in limited? I don't know. Can pick up 7 of them? Fun, fun. The flavor text is very charming too. It's nice. So again, I suppose this isn't a Disney original. Or is it? Ah, based on a German fairy tale. Of course. It always is. It always is. Ginger Brutes. Oh, this was like one of the preview images. People are freaking out about it. This looks so silly. It's a food golem. So it's a food too. So this line of text is actually unnecessary. It's just there for clarity, I'm pretty sure. Because its artifact type is food and its creature type is golem. But it just has this here, I guess, for redundancy. It's like Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, alright. I like it. I like that this can't catch it type of vibe. The fact that it's like a food and a creature is really fun. Oh, Spinning Wheel. Another classic. It's a mana rock. Later I can tap stuff down. Sure. Alright. Inquisitive Puppet. Scry 1. Hey, it becomes a person! Oh, I love it. Oh, well, this is kind of tragic, it seems, but it becomes a real boy. Just like Pinocchio, which again, I assume must be some grim era fairy tale that Disney just adapted. Sure. It's kind of neat. Sure. True Love's Kiss. Man, they're just trope after trope after trope. It's so impressive. Sure. Some people deserve their curses. Now that's an interesting twist. Normally, somebody kisses somebody, pops them out of the curse, they live happily ever after. That's a direct quote. Happily ever after. But this idea, some people deserve their curses. You de-petrify him, and he's a big asshole. Now that's fun. That's a story I'd like to read. Oh, another Archon. This one at Mythic. That's where I expect to see Archons. Look at that Archon. That is an Archon and a half. Non-Archon creatures have base power into +3/3. Ooh, so you get 2 3/3s. That's a lot of power. I like this kind of non-tribal synergy. You want this to be the only Archon in your deck. But this seems pretty good. You go super wide. You have a bunch of little humans running around. And then this guy comes down. Suddenly they're all base power and toughness 3/3. That's base power. So all of your +1/+1/1 synergies with your humans or whatever still apply. Yeah, this seems pretty nuts as like a top end in some hypothetical deck. I don't think it slots too much into normal modern humans. The mana cost is just a little too intensive. They'd rather win just kind of by like squeezing out games than necessarily needing this gigantic overrun type effect. But I don't know, maybe in like a standard deck, going super wide, it's just so much power. It gives you 10 power for 6 mana. That's nuts. Ooh, it's an elf. Ooh, she's the first. Ooh, she must have drank from the cauldron. Or maybe. Because, like, elves used to be in charge. She's the first of this castle that still exists. She's still alive. She's sipping on something. What's that drink you're sipping on? I don't know. I think she drank the Hokusai elixir, so to speak. Sure. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Morning seems seamlessly into celebration as she chooses her next suitor. Fun, fun. Alright, so this is part of our Kings and Queens cycle. Stolen by the Fae. Turn target creature can bring mana cost X to its owner's hand. You create X blue fairy creatures to. Well, this is kind of interesting, that it's with converted mana cost X, not X or less. So you can't deliberately pay more to get more fairies, which is a little unfortunate. But this is pretty good. Like, this is a really solid way to just start dealing a ton of damage. Yeah, I don't know. This seems pretty strong. Bounce their biggest threat, assuming that you're kind of at mana parity with them. Yeah, I don't know. Seems alright. Sir Eleonora, the Discerning. Number of cards in your hand. Battlefield, draw a card. Okay. Yeah, it seems alright. Having constant 4 toughness makes this a lot better. Scorching Dragonfire. Sure, this is a functional reprint. I'm pretty sure of some card. I don't know what, but yeah, it's alright. Aww, that's horrifying, but nostalgic. Skull Knocker Ogre. Okay, well, that's often just a benefit for them, but whatever. So it's like if they have a card still in their hand, that means that card has been useless up until now. So the odds are that they're discarding a useless card and drawing potentially a useful card. So generally you don't want to let your opponent loot, even if it's random discard loot. The stats aren't that good either. Outlaw's Merriment. Beginning of your upkeep, choose one at random. Create a red and white creature token with those characteristics. Hey, alright, well that's a lot of fun. But that's such a fun design. This doesn't seem that good. You're paying 4 and then you're getting these not amazing creatures. Look at these guys. I love them. I don't know. It's such a fun design. I can't complain. I'm surprised it's mythic though. Like, this doesn't seem that pushed. Right? You're building up an army so slowly. You don't get anything the turn it comes down. I think if it ETB'd and gave you one, and then you also got one. This is maybe this is intentional flavor, but like, oh, it's any target. Okay, so you can always hit your opponent's face. I thought it was any creature at first, in which case there are situations where you have to kill one of your other outlaws. I don't know. It's a fun card, but I don't think it's that strong. Charming Prince. Yeah, that's quite good. This effect especially. If it had flash, it would be totally nuts. But this already has a lot of value. And then when it doesn't have value, you probably want to be doing one of these two things. The stats are pretty good. Yeah, this guy seems alright. I think he'll find a home somewhere. Roving Keep. Okay, sure. I gotta pay 7 to let it attack. Crazy. No other castles answered its cries. Whoa. It's just a big living castle that's out to try to make friends with other castles. Okay. I'm into it. Ooh, it's Kenrith, the Returned King. So this is uh, the father, I think, of the two siblings that were in battle bonds. I'm pretty sure. This is pretty cool. He's got this sort of thing going on. Creatures gain trample and haste until end of turn. +1/+1 counter on target creature. Target player gains 5 life. Target player draws a card. Put target creature from the graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control. Woo! Now this is interesting because it's very political in multiplayer games. You can do reanimations for other players. You can't steal their creatures and reanimate them yourselves because it's under its owner's control, but it doesn't necessarily have to be you getting your own creature back. This is a very exciting card. Very hard to evaluate because you're really not going to be playing in a deck where you do all 5 of these things. That would shock me. But each one of the abilities is like actually pretty efficient, such that it kind of feels like you might consider playing it in a like just white and that deck. Oh, probably not. Oh, I don't know. Oh, this is the buy a box promo. Oh gosh, Wizards, watch out. Are you sure this isn't good? Are you so sure that this isn't good that you're willing to make it a $150 card or whatever the hell Nexus of Fate ended up being? Alright. Playing the Firstborn. Oh, of course, this is like Rumpelstiltskin type fun. Sure, sure. Searing Barrage. Sure, seems alright for limited. Sure. I wonder if we'll get a card depicting this. Or maybe that's that Sea Serpent we saw before. Circara the Bold. Oh, okay, cool. Get Impulse Draw. And then at the very least, you get to do it once per turn. Yeah, alright, I like it. Flavor text fun. And I think we saw this before. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'm quite certain we saw all of these before. Alright, so we're caught up. All it took was an hour and 17 minutes. Let's go back to the start and make sure nothing more got spoiled. Nope, we're good. We're getting there, we're getting there. Hopefully we'll be able to make these videos more consistently. Oh, we won't have to marathon through, how many cards did we look at? 20, 40, 60, 80, I think. 80, 100, 100 and some. A little over 100 cards. Sure. All right. Bye-bye.